We are doing Monster Squad. We are talking about Nards, man, Nards. Let's see if another mysterious hand closes that door like the last one we did.
We're haunted, by the way.
Yeah, just so you know. Oh, it's driving me nuts just a little. There we go. Okay, just better.
What
Sorry,
was that?
It's a little off.
What are you doing?
Okay. That's about as close. Okay. Just wanted it centered. OCD. Yeah, we're gonna talk. That was his wife, by the way. Close that door. She thought she wouldn't be seen. Then everyone in the last video was like,
Give it.
Who was that? That was
Give
so
it
much.
away. Give it away.
Spoilers. Well, and then everybody.
I was gonna make up a whole story.
Well, then everybody's like, to be fair, that was the much scarier than anything in Devil. So I thought it worked okay. Okay, we are going to talk about Monster Squad. I really want to talk about this movie because I feel like I love this movie. I love it so much, but it shouldn't work. In some respects, in many respects, it doesn't work. It's a kid's movie.
What are you talking about? It works just fine.
No, but that's the thing. It's like...
Oh, kids can see it. We saw it.
I mean, yeah, but they're not supposed to.
Maybe our modern kids can't see it.
No, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I mean, this is a film where it's like there's obviously these kid tropes. Like, this should be a G or PG movie, but there's scenes where it's like Dracula's calling this little girl a bitch, and they're like shooting all these gory, bloody scenes and stuff like that. And they're blackmailing this girl with like naked pictures of her, which clearly she should be blackmailing them because that's very illegal. And there's just all these inappropriate scenes, but it's not really made for adults. It's clearly kind of made for that kid audience when you see how Dracula looks and Frankenstein looks and stuff, the Frankenstein monsters. So it's one of those things where it's like, this shouldn't work. In many respects, it doesn't work, but in its own strange way, it does work.
Yes, it does.
That's why I love doing the review, because it's very much one of those movies where it's like, no, I can't defend it as good, but it's awesome. It's just an awesome movie. And I think it rides that film that you're not supposed to see as a kid, yet somehow is made for you, which I think they're trying to expose more and more now with
kind
the
of like
PG-13
Basic
rating.
Instinct. Oh, never mind.
I was gonna say the Transformer movies, but I mean that's made for 13-year-old, and I was gonna say above, but not really, just 13-year-old and under.
The Michael Bay ones.
Yeah,
honestly, I think Monster Squad's more adult.
Oh, I agree. But that's why I'm saying there's kind of like this. Now we're trying to hit that crowd a lot. With kind of that 13, like only that like 13 to 15. Kind of.
I'm like trying to think what in Transformers would even I guess, Megan Fox in the car wash, but...
Stuff like Bros Before Hoes and stuff like that. And it is pretty violent. A lot of like the... I can't remember. Yeah, I mean, they're going through buildings. They don't show people falling, but it's like that's the only missing thing. Like tons of people died while they're flying through those buildings.
It's so innocuous. I can't even Monster Squad feels harder core to me than Transformers.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like it does sort of have the goriness and people will die.
Maybe because it has the cojones to actually throw kids in a situation like that.
Yeah.
Instead of Shia, no. The beef.
That is what it means. So this is one of those films where it's like I saw it. If I was to watch it when it came out, which I kind of did actually when I was a little kid, but if I was to watch it as an adult, I would be like, who is this movie made for? I mean, well, what is it trying to accomplish? You can't show
us
stuff.
It's made for us.
And that's
children of the 80s.
So it's not a surprise at all that it bombed. It didn't do well. Because it's how can you find an audience for it? But now it feels like...
I'm not sure it was promoted properly either, because how
do you promote this film?
How do you promote a film like that?
Yeah.
It just there's some classic movie monsters and
even to I
don't remember because we saw it on video as kids. I don't remember ever seeing trailers for it nor going, oh, I need to see that.
No, I didn't see them either.
Yeah.
Well, and then you have something like, even with Transformers as obviously gearing towards, 13-year-olds as that is, it's trying to make the machines look tough, look dirty, even though CG's not always that great, is trying to look like it's really there. As soon as you see Dracula in that cape, and you see the fake bats flying on the strings and stuff like that, and, you know, the very stock werewolf and stock Frankenstein monster, like the old movies, it's like, come on, this is clearly, like, for kids, you know, not little kids, but, you know, kids. And you're gonna throw in all this stuff, though.
Kids of a sort.
Yeah, so
80s kids, I don't know.
I think it could very well be maybe that lack of not exactly knowing the audience, or maybe knowing it too well, in a sense, is kind of what makes it so interesting.
But that's okay, because they balanced all of that kind of, like, darkness and grittiness with, you know, Holocaust reference.
Yes! Scenes like that! Oh my god. You want depressing, go to the... I mean, and now it's off of League of Super Critics, but the original comments on there, maybe they're still on there, on our channel, was everyone saying, well, I don't get the number on the arm. What's he talking about? I just don't get it. It's like...
Oh my god. Read a book! You're making the rest of us look like jerks!
Yeah.
Read a fucking book!
I ain't gonna explain it to you, especially in this, you know, lighthearted video. But it is kind of true, though, throwing something like that in this movie, and it's just one of those things.
Well, apparently now, as we found out, it's an educational film.
Yeah. You know, the tone is all over the place, but in a weird way, that's kind of what's so likable about it. It's because it shouldn't be in there, but it's also the stuff that I think 13-year-olds like to see that kind of makes it interesting. It kind of makes it fun. It's a kids' movie doing the things that kids' movies
I will say,
do.
the perfect age to watch this is 3 to 15. No, I think
I saw it when I was like 6 or so. I thought it was like kind of meant to be serious. And of course, when I grow up,
I'd say the perfect age for this film is like 8 to 12. Is like that perfect age where like it'll hit you probably just right. But any higher and it's a little silly because it's this classic movie. But and any lower, like you saw when you were 5, which would have made me about or wait, when did you?
I want to say I was 5. I could be wrong.
No, I want to say no, because we were here. I want to say you would have been like 6.
But I want to say
I would have been 8.
Because I thought like, oh, this is like the real Dracula, the real Frankenstein monster. Ooh, like these are the legitimately scary ones. And then of course when I get older, it's like, no,
if you were 6,
not.
I would have been 8. So I liked it, but I mean it. I think maybe some of it went over your head because I'm not sure I took it seriously.
Yeah, see, I took
then
it
again,
like
it had
seriously.
a nice gritty edge to it. I remember enjoying it.
Yeah,
a lot.
Like I said,
I was like, this is awesome.
I mean, when you see the lady vampires coming down with the, you know, they're getting stabbed in the heart and stuff, I was just like, oh crap! Like this is the real deal. Like this is what I thought. Like, you know,
for a kid, it is.
Yeah, no, like the Keaton Batman. It was like the difference between
unless you're raised on horror movies.
Yeah, no, it's like the difference between the '60s Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman. I was like, oh, this is the real Batman, like the Keaton Batman. I thought this was the real Dracula and the real Frankenstein monster, and then of course I grew up, I'm like, no, the original Dracula is the real Dracula, and the original Frankenstein is the real Frankenstein.
Do you remember the first time we saw it?
It was at a friend's house.
No,
right?
It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
No, we did see it again at a friend's house. Do you remember the first time we saw it?
No, maybe not.
We were at a church group. Honest to God, like they would like.
That's right.
And
yeah.
I don't think they had any clue. What the hell?
Like
this
in
movie
the basement.
Because it was in the basement.
Showing it to all these
kids.
It
was in the basement of a church.
I was kind of impressed that they were showing. I was like,
well, the thing is, they didn't know. It literally was like, oh, like Universal monster movies, like who the hell knew? Plus,
and little kids going after it. I doubt they
plus
looked
it was
at
the
rating.
80s, so it was always a crapshoot how dark your kids' films were.
PG-13 was this brand new rating, and I doubt they looked. They just saw the kids on the cover, the Dracula monster, the Frankenstein, the Wolfman.
Nobody.
Oh, okay. Just put it on.
I'm sorry. Who in the 80s looked at the ratings?
Who looks at the ratings now, honestly?
But I mean, who in the 80s looked at the ratings if it looked kid-friendly?
Yeah.
Like, if it had a kid-friendly cover, that was it.
And they got away with a lot.
Yeah, nobody was looking, because PG-13 was fairly a new thing. You still were just mostly in the RPGG category, and generally if it looked like a kid's film on the cover, you were gonna sit there and go like, I need to see if it's PG-13. Like, no, that didn't happen.
Actually,
because we were men and women back then, and
well, actually, we were boys and girls, but yeah.
We were boys and girls! With cojones and ovaries of steel, I don't know.
Actually, I remember now, you know what I thought this was? Because when I first saw it, I thought, because I know you remember this, probably a lot of you out there don't know it, I thought it was like a grown-up version of the Halloween That Almost Wasn't. Because that had all the monsters coming together and everything, and because I remember saying, like, where's the witch? I want to see what she looks like.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's just say it is. Let's just say it is. That makes the movie even more awesome.
Because that was like one of my big introductions to like Dracula and Frankenstein and stuff was the Halloween That Almost Wasn't.
Wait, was that the best introduction? Was that
Judd Hirsch's Dracula?
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Look, it's on YouTube. You'll see where I'm coming from because it's all the monsters come together.
You'll laugh, you'll cry.
70s.
You'll kiss 30 minutes goodbye.
It's the stupid 70s thing for little kids, and it's fine for little kids. It's ungodly stupid.
So so you YouTube that, watch it, and then think of Monster Squad as the unofficial sequel.
Yeah, like the grown-up version of it. So that was kind of like,
That's amazing.
I think that was like my official introduction of like what I thought Dracula and Frankenstein was. Then this was the update. Yeah. So a lot of you don't know what that is. I mean, it's cute for little kids. I mean, it's like harmless, but it's dumb. It's so dumb and cheesy. But where this, I think, is very harmful to little kids, but also dumb and cheesy, but a lot more fun.
Harmful little kids.
Kind.
We turned out fucking fine.
Well, and even that mindset of, Wolfman doesn't have nards, kick him in the nut. Wolfman has nards. That's totally a kid mindset.
A line that defined a generation.
That's totally a kid mindset, because no kid thinks about that, like the Wolfman having balls, and then suddenly it's like, I guess he does. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't think
that. They should, good sir. They should.
Yeah, I just love this movie. I love the review that we did of it, because I really felt like with the reality monster attacking, that is like, okay, this really, as a film, it kind of doesn't work. It is cheesy, it is ridiculous, but as just this awesome what the fuck experience, it's amazing, and it's so much fun.
Plus, chart guy.
Yeah, well, chart guy, that was just our geeky analysis kid. Actually, did this one have kind of the geeky kid? I'm trying to remember.
They all of if you string all 80s kids films together, you get every trope. But I don't know if this one had that one in particular, but other films do.
Well, then I was thinking of something like Stranger Things. Of course, is this huge hit. A lot of fun to watch now that it's fall.
Is that show any good? I don't know.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, of course we see it. I can't watch it like the minute it came out. I watched that.
Let go my ego, bitch!
And yeah, but that is clearly for adults paying homage to some of these tropes, but it is clearly this is an adult show. Goonies is still for kids. It has some adult elements, but it's mostly for kids. E.T., kind of the same thing. Where Monster Squad, it's like, it's hard to say who it's for.
Honestly,
that's kind of what makes it interesting and fun.
Stranger Things, if you just put more of the kids in there, you could argue is just as much because I'm trying to think what is so awful in there that you couldn't show.
No, it's not even awful. It's that there's a lot of focus on the adults.
There is more focus on the adults,
stuff like that.
That's true, and that's the only thing that separates
equal time.
But that's the scary thing in tone. When I think of kids' films, particularly they're getting better with getting darker, but generally like that dark age where Disney was doing direct-to-DVD sequels and like when I think of Stranger Things, I'm like, yeah, if you just had the kids in it more, that could have passed for a kids film in the 80s.
Yeah, no, really.
Think about that for a second. That's kind of like, that's fucking horrifying.
Even like our most...
In a good way, but...
Even our most kind of inspirational, lovey-dovey, lighthearted, like E.T., is still a very kind of dark, gritty looking
before they
movie.
Replaced the guns with walkie-talkies.
Yes.
Our kids' films were so dark that the directors themselves had to try to correct their mistakes. It's too dark, they can't take this. Put in some walkie-talkies.
What was that line with his black cat? It's like, you know what they're saying? Walkie-talkies? Where the hell are our guns?
it's true. But I love you know what it is? Stranger Things, I think, got it right, because it's aping the 80s kids' films, and occasionally I'll see modern kids' films that get it right, but I like 80s kids' films because the kids always seem real. They're not perfect. They swear. Whatever happened to kids swearing? I miss that. We need more of that. I'm terrible. Everybody's gonna think I'm some sort of inhuman monster, but I'm just like, I miss that shit.
The last movie I remember them doing that, and it really working and feeling natural. For a kid's movie, I'd say probably Sandlot is the last one I remember. There probably are more, don't get me wrong.
Well, that one was set in the 60s.
Bring them up. I love to know these kids' movies actually have, the kids swearing, and they feel like real kids. Not to say there's none. I'm sure there are, but that's kind of that's one that's coming to memory. Not even recent memory. That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Christmas Story, they swear.
No, and I like that. I mean, they took out the F-bomb basically to replace it with fudge, but I mean, you knew what that was, so it still worked.
If not, you were delightfully introduced.
I don't need kids throwing F-bombs everywhere. But when you take it out entirely, it doesn't make it realistic to me. The portrayals of school and stuff in most modern movies, I don't even recognize. I'm just I just remember we were swearing up a storm on the playground, and and then of course you don't do that in home in front of your parents. Maybe that's the problem. The people who are writing these are parents. And the image of their kids that they have now are all innocent because that's what their kids are showing them. Again, because we never would do it in front of our parents because, they'd kill us.
I think it really does depend on who the movie is made for. I really feel like, Sandlot is made for that exact age and above.
Well, it's also made for kids who lived through the 60s.
Yeah, but I mean,
it was made for our parents or people younger, and just.
But I can see, a kids movie where the kids don't swear, but it's that's not who they're going for. They're going for a little younger. They're going for a certain demographic, and I get that. But yeah, there is something. It's always either PG-13 or G. That PG doesn't exist.
I don't need Thumbelina to have swearing in it, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
if you're trying to do a realistic portrayal of the school grounds or whatever, or what childhood is like, I always.
But also make it a kids movie, yeah. But like I said, it's that trying to get rid of PG by making everything PG, and then PG-13 is the grand. Oh well, here's our Transformers. Here's our kids swearing because they can. Ooh, not because that's how kids
talk. It doesn't satisfy any.
No.
Well, I guess it does because it still makes money.
Yeah.
It's just such a cop-out.
But yeah, so that's something I like to see kind of more of. And when I say swearing, here's the thing too. When I say swearing in movies, I don't mean whatever in a Pixar film or Frozen where they say a swear word to get the PG rating because, more people can see as if it's PG.
When you're seeing a Pixar film, you get this concept that it really is aimed at all audiences. You should, even if they don't understand it, be able to take a 3-year-old into a Pixar film.
Yeah.
And not have them dropping, F-bombs everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about, Monster Squad is an example. Stranger Things is an example. Movies we grew up with, Explorers. That was an example.
Even Christmas Story, honestly.
Flight of the Navigator was a little more, that was more Disneyfied. But, Christmas Stories, where it's we're trying to show you a realistic representation of what it's like in childhood. And
with some exaggerations, clearly, but yeah.
And if you're one who's my kid never swears, I'm like, they're a liar.
Well,
you just haven't heard that.
Well, no. Of course they swear. You're the parent, though, so you just didn't hear it. Because they're not going to swear around you unless you're
same thing if we ever have kids. I'm sure if we ever hear them swear, how dare you? But harder. And that's why we don't have kids. But whatever they do on the playground, with their own friends, so long as they're not breaking the law, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Or lighting themselves on fire or doing something really stupid. As long as they're not doing things we did when we grew up.
And I think the idea, and like I said, I'm not necessarily against it, is that I guess why I think PG-13 isn't always that great is because it's sort of normalizing it to a point where it's there's no reason to get offended at all. And it's that's not true either. It's like, there is a language. It's not always bad words or swear words, but there is a language and a way to talk, that's appropriate in some places, not appropriate in others. And I think some movies are trying to emphasize that to certain age groups, but others are trying to make it look like, well, it's nothing at all. It's like, no, it is something, but we saw Monster Squad knowing that we probably kind of shouldn't. And, we saw Aliens knowing we kind of probably shouldn't.
Yes.
So even though it's like we saw that it was good going in with that mindset.
Debbie Does Dallas thinking we probably should. Wait.
Which we definitely should. I still have scars from that.
It was better. It was better than Catholic High School Girls in Trouble, all right?
Nothing is better than Catholic High School Girls in Trouble.
Samuel L. Brockowitz presents. Like, how many people do you think get that?
The 3 people that saw a Kentucky Fried Movie are going to be like, oh my God! But no, I think that is important, that awareness that you shouldn't be watching it. So there is kind of like, there is this inappropriateness, but you still watch it, and it's... it's okay, but you have to have that awareness that this kind of isn't okay, but you can handle it. It creates this responsibility to the language.
Kids need that exposure to something naughty every once in a while. They need something that they're like, ooh, like maybe I'm being bad just seeing it. That feeling of like you're getting away with something, or you're in on the adult thing, the swearing or the smoking or the drinking or whatever's going on in the movie. That's why I love Ghostbusters. Like, they're drinking and smoking up a storm in it.
Well, and I saw Batman when I was a little kid, 9 or something like that.
What bothers me?
But, clearly not 13 yet, but I was just like, okay, I know this is bad, so you feel a little bit more adult, you feel like you have the responsibility to handle it.
And adults need adult things. Every once in a while, I need a hardcore R movie just to remind me I'm a freaking adult. And you know what? It works the opposite way, too. Sometimes, like, the past couple months are a great example. The shit hits the fan and your life is just so fucked up at the moment that you're just like, you know what? I need some light and fluffy.
I need Storks. Storks was amazing, by the way.
I need fucking Storks.
Go see Storks. I didn't do a vlog on it. Just go see it. It's freaking hilarious.
I need Storks. I need like a Pixar movie. I need something light and fluffy that's not, PG-13 or something. So my problem with PG-13 is it doesn't satisfy anybody, because you're not getting a real adult experience like you would out of an R movie. You're definitely not getting an innocent sort of kids film. It is literally the blanding down of both sides, where it's just like, well, we're gonna make the kids just feel naughty enough without anything really, like, PG-13 movies back in the day were way more hardcore than they are now.
Yeah, they're almost R.
Temple of Doom is that Brad Jones nails. He's like, that's a fucking hard R movie.
I thought Raiders of the Lost Ark was an R too.
Raiders, it was. They put fire in front of Belloc's exploding face.
It's still an R.
And that made it
a goddamn R.
That somehow makes it PG. So
that scared the shit out of me when I saw that.
So
I'm like, this isn't the same movie as Roger Rabbit.
So if you're a kid, you're not getting the full on like adult experience, because like we saw Aliens.
We were pretty damn young.
8?
Yeah,
I must have been 8. Young. You were 6. Like, and it scared the shit out of us. That's the point.
That's what I'm supposed to do.
Everybody needs that moment in their life where they see something adult. So you don't get that out of a PG-13 film. But if you're an adult, it would be like PG-13 Deadpool or something. You'd be like, what the hell is this? Or PG-13 RoboCop. It's like, I want the adult thing. Why am I getting this watered down piece of trash?
I feel like they maybe are sort of making a comeback, because Deadpool was, of course, a gigantic hit. And then Sausage Party did pretty good. And that is just totally celebrating being everything anti-PC, every stereotype, every offensive thing you can imagine. And it did well. But that's also because it was well written. And the same thing with Deadpool. So I hope there is more effort going into it. And don't get me wrong,
it was also called Sausage Party, so people would see it just because they were just like, I want to say I saw Sausage.
But they would be satisfied too. That's what's so funny about the movie. But no, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like we are so middle of the road right now, which is
bland.
No, but
the chart says people want just enough of everything. Don't rock the boat.
Everything goes in peaks and valleys. I think there was a while where we had nothing but G's and nothing but R's and stuff like that. And then we tried to mix it up a bit. Now we're in the PG-13 age. And it's like, good. We needed that for a while, but now let's go back. Let's go to the G's and R's again. Let's go to these extremes and let's make them good. Let's make good G films. Let's make good R films. I feel like they are making good PG films. Or good G films. They're just calling it PG for no damn reason.
Well, I'm okay with that. PG as a rating doesn't bother me. PG versus
see, it does
G,
me.
I don't care. I don't care about it. It's
film
PG-13.
is clearly G. I did a whole editorial line. You can see it.
PG-13 used to be this is your baby step right below an R.
Yeah.
This is your way to get into an R-rated movie practically. And now it's just been watered down to the point where it's like, well, it's now probably somewhere what would be in between a PG and an old PG-13.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me. I'm like, okay, then why does this rating even exist? It's just a slightly harder core version of PG, and that just doesn't interest me. I'm like, just give me one or the other.
Yeah.
Can you imagine this film being made now as a PG-13? We're going to make a quote-unquote kind of kids film starring old movie monsters, and it's going to be rated PG-13?
I don't know what it'd be.
I can't see it.
Rated.
I can't.
I think it would still
not as a kids film. You would make it as a teen movie.
No, not a kids film at all.
But that's what I'm saying. There's no way you could get away with this film.
But it's kind of strange that it came out even then. I guess that is the time for it to come out. Don't get me wrong. That 80s where they did kind of blend it.
It was pushing the envelope even then.
Yeah,
but it was still allowed to exist. It was more like, what the fuck is this?
So,
but it's still...
Well, I think that's why the film is so fascinating. Like I said, it is just clearly a kid's film, but there's all this stuff that's clearly not kid-related, but kids like to see. And like I said, you could argue that it did kind of give birth to the Michael Bay PG-13
We should look up the
stuff.
story behind this movie. Maybe it's got some convoluted production history, and it was meant to be more...
Well, they probably saw stuff like Goonies and films like that, where it's like they were pushing the envelope a little bit. So they wanted to see if they could go that next step, and it sort of took a little too big a step that couldn't find an audience, and not understandably so, or it's very understandable why. But that just made it all the more intriguing looking back years later and watching it. So... yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a very particular audience there is a very particular audience that likes it. Like I said, it's coming back, and people are just talking about it more and more because of what a strange anomaly it is. So yeah, I love it. I don't know if I can defend it as good cinema.
No, it's not high art.
Yeah, but it's just...
it's a great time capsule.
Yeah, it's a great time capsule.
Of the strangeness that we grew up with.
Yeah, and it
circa 1980 to about 1990.
Yeah, just like the 80s and the sort of non-PC, non-appropriateness. I shouldn't say non-PC, but not appropriate, definitely, for kids' films, even down to the rating. That just draws us to it even more.
I guess if the 70s was dingy and sort of pot high, then the 80s was more of that gritty coke high.
Yeah, it's all about the crack.
Whenever I see 70s kids films, it's all these groovy colors and far out, man, and then the 80s is just gritty, sort of you just snorted way too much. I was what the?
It is strange how you can actually kind of identify decades by a drug. Pot, coke, 90s would probably be crack, early 2000s would be meth. Just keep going from there.
Yeah.
A little weird.
Marijuana. And maybe some acid. Thinking some acid in the 70s.
Yeah, acid.
Definitely I think of Willy Wonka and definitely acid, but there's something about the 80s. I'm we were
60,
all...
60s and 70s kind of blend, but it's I don't know which one. 70s would probably be more pot, and then
50s, that would be Disney. That would be your morphine high.
Yeah.
Pink elephants.
And just cigarettes. Just tons
cigarettes,
of cigarettes in your mouth.
Well, that's true. Pink elephants. He was drunk off his ass.
Yeah. No. When he was getting off the morphine, I'm sure it's where that came from. I'm sure it's where half the Disney stuff came from.
But the mouse, in Dumbo, got drunk in that. So
yeah. Exactly.
50s booze and cigarettes. 60s, 70s. That's you get into your acid kind of marijuana phase, and then
80s, 90s, coke and crack.
Yeah.
2000s all about meth and ecstasy. Yeah. It is kind of weird. We kind of sum up these 2 decades with 2 drugs. Fascinating. Huh. So an interesting commentary or documentary on that. I don't know. Some great writer is going to do much more with that than we are. So Monster Squad. It rocks nards. Go see it. It's so much fun.
I just like peeing standing up.
And go see our review if you haven't yet.
She still quotes that all the time.
That's one of my favorite reviews, so definitely see that as well. Monster Squad. There is nothing to not like.
Wolfman's got nards.
Nards.
Nards.